Okie dokie, everybody. Welcome back. You're here at the Fox Den with Peter Voss, the Papa Fox, and we are going to continue playing Tyranny by Obsidian Entertainment. When we last left off, we had gotten some information at the top of the spire. Now we're going through some of the conversations with some of our folk here. So let's continue. We were talking with Sirin.
Fatebinder, it is good to see you. By this point, I've usually been passed off to someone else for more training.
Sirin's face shows a mixture of confusion and hopefulness.
What do you need?
Okay. Do you know anything about what's going on in the tiers? How long have you been here? Okay. What do you think about Tunon? He makes me uncomfortable. There's something behind that mask. It's dark and empty. What do you mean? Everyone has a presence. It's how my magic works. I reach into them and convince their presence to do what I want. He has no presence. When I reached into him, there was nothing. It was bleak. I never want to feel that again. If you have to reach into someone's mind to control them, how did you influence entire armies to do what you want? I can't influence an army, but I can persuade them to feel the way I want them to. If I want to get someone to do a specific thing for me, I have to get inside their head. That requires a lot more effort. No one can keep me out. But if they're aware of what I'm doing, I can't force them to do anything. At least not with this thing on my head. She knocks a hand against her helmet. Really, I don't know how it works. It just does. You might as well ask me where lightning comes from. I want to know about Kyros. What do you want to know? How did you come to work for him? Or for Kyros. We actually don't know if Kyros is a man or a woman. After my father betrayed me and got my mother killed, I was taken to Kyros' men. I honestly don't know where we went, other than it seemed to take forever to get there. When I was put in school, it was wonderful and horrible time. I learned how to control and maximize my power, but they underestimated my abilities, or overestimated theirs. I think it was more the latter than the former. They unleashed my true power. Did they believe I wouldn't try to run with it? They tried to train and mold me, and in that they succeeded. They also tried to brainwash me and break me, and in that they failed spectacularly, and I was punished for it. Why were you punished? They assumed my abilities were exaggerated. They were powerful mages who had spent years training at their art. How could a little girl ever hope to rival their powers? I grew tired of their condescension. I hated them for treating me like a child. Their rules, their discipline, their training. They had killed my mother, and I would make them pay for it. One day, I got bored in class. The teacher's droning voice was putting me to sleep in the afternoon heat, so I thought I'd have a little fun. He was distracted, and he let his defenses down. He didn't consider me a threat. How did you know his defenses were down? I can just feel it. If someone is alert or aware of what's going on, it's a lot harder to get inside. But I know when they're vulnerable. I know how to take advantage of the opening and climb right in. Go on. I started humming. Nothing that would attract his attention, of course. A lullaby my mother sang to me. Fitting, I thought, to invade this man's mind with a song taught to me by the woman they destroyed. I could tell I had gotten inside him when he slowed down ever so slightly. I started singing wordlessly, standing, working in hand motions. They were completely unnecessary, but I had been trained to be a performer. Then I worked in my words. The window, I sang to him. Look, what's at the window? He turned, entranced, and stared outside, his mouth moving silently as he dreamed an answer to my question. What's out there? I asked him through my song. What could it be? I was elated. The fool had left himself alone and vulnerable, and this 8-year-old girl had dominated his mind. He walked to the window, intently staring at something I couldn't see. You made him jump, didn't you? Of course. I didn't mean for him to fall. He was looking out the window and reached up as if to touch whatever he was looking at, and before I could stop him, he was gone. It looked like he was trying to catch something as he fell from sight. I won't say I'm sorry he died. He was a horrible man, but I didn't mean to do it. However, I was elated. The taste of power was intoxicating. I didn't get to taste it again for a long time. How were you punished? They wanted to cut out my tongue. Even at 8, I couldn't blame them. That's what I would have done, but Kira said no, doing possibly the one kind act she ever did for me. Without the power of speech, I was essentially useless. So, they muzzled me. They knew simply holding my mouth shut wasn't going to be sufficient, so they got creative. Using sage magic, they put my voice in stasis when I wasn't in class. I could go through the motions of speech, but nothing came out. Oh, they did take pleasure in it. Between classes, they gave me chores, they berated me, they beat me. I was their slave. The only reason I lived was by Kyros' whim, but I was tortured by everyone else's. There were at least 2 teachers in my classes after the incident, and I was always accompanied by 2 guards, both of whom had been deafened so I couldn't affect them. I accidentally killed one man, and they were acting like I destroyed a realm. I suppose that's what they thought I'd do next, and who knows, maybe that's what I'm about to do now. How was life like with Kyros? For several years, I was surrounded by people who wouldn't smile to my face and sneer when I turned away. They were supposed to be my mentors, my teachers, but all they did was resent me. They taught me to refine and control my voice. My power became more directed, more powerful, more subtle. I no longer needed to specifically say what I wanted people to do. I could just think what I wanted, how I felt, and the weaker the mind, the faster they would respond. It still required me to sing, or at the very least make music with my voice, but I could say one thing, but mean something else entirely, and the magic worked. Everything was done for Kyros' edification. They asked for signs of her power, and I was used to bring them about. People praised my name to the extent that that was allowed, but if the focus of adoration ever truly pointed toward me, it was quickly stifled. I didn't see much of Kyros. She was busy taking care of her affairs. I was never allowed to forget by whose power I was allowed to exist. I was paraded around like the new jewel, and since I had real power, it took a while for the luster to fade. But when I tarnished, I corroded through. And when I stopped being a pleasant distraction, I was passed off to Nerat to be forgotten. How long did you work for Kyros? 5 years? 2 of dedicated training, 2 years with training interspersed with travel, performing miracles in Kyros' name, then a year of being his pet. What do you think of Kyros? Honestly, I didn't really think of him at all at first. If I wasn't getting daily reminders that he owned me and could have killed me at any time he wanted, I would have completely forgotten he existed. Don't misunderstand me, I despise him. It's because of him I don't have a family. It's because of him my mother is dead. It's because of him I'm here instead of somewhere else. But as a child I was kept too busy to interact with him much. Wait a minute, you called Kyros both him and her? Did I? How clumsy of me. Must have been a slip of the tongue, she smiles mischievously. Is Kyros a man or a woman? You really don't know? Do you? That's fascinating. I assumed a Fatebinder would have been given an audience with him. Doesn't seem like she'd let you perform actions in his name without speaking to you. She's messing with... Well, not really messing with us. I assume there's an explanation. That's part of the mystique, isn't it? If your enemies don't know anything about you, how can they properly plan? So why would Kyros let anything out that he didn't want the world to know? Just tell me, Sirin. No. A lady has to keep some secrets, and this is going to be mine. It feels good to have some power in this relationship. It's not going to matter once you defeat him anyway. She'll be gone. Sirin is... I like Sirin as a character. Okay, cool. This is pretty awesome. Something else? What can you tell me about the Scarlet Chorus? If I never talk to another Scarlet Chorus member in my entire life, I will consider it a success, no matter what else happens. She folds her arms across her chest and levels a steely gaze at you. Then I am thrilled to turn your attempted successes into a constant failure. I'll try to talk to you more often. Oh, Verse. Anything that helps numb me to the droning sound of your voice. Now, do you mind I'm speaking with the Fatebinder? What do you want to know? You weren't a member of the chorus? What? Absolutely not. The only reason I worked with them was because I was being forced to. Once Kyros had this monstrosity placed on my head, I really had no choice. I'm not powerful enough to force them to let me go, and they had the numbers to overwhelm me if I tried anything, so I did what I was told, until you showed up. What was it like working with them? Well, at first I was treated like a queen. I spent all of my time recruiting, and let's be honest, the Scarlet Chorus isn't choosy, so it was easy to convince people to join. Toward the end, I actually started fearing for my life. With this thing on my head, I couldn't effectively control an entire army, so hobbling me was quite an intelligent thing for Kyros to do. If anybody had realized I couldn't hold all of them back, I would have been in big trouble. Your little stunt adventure as well couldn't have come at a better time. What do you think of them? I'd have thought my look of disgust kind of answered that question, Fatebinder. They're worthless, hopeless, disorganized bunch of savages who will soon tear themselves apart from the inside. What's your opinion on their methods? They randomly grab anyone and anything they can get their hands on and hope they'll work if they beat them enough. Sounds like the makings of a fantastic army to me. I am repulsed by them and everything they do. Narad is a disgusting excuse for a leader, and I look forward to the day I can watch the life drain from its insane eyes. Am I being clear enough for you, Fatebinder? Okay, let's talk about something else. What do you know about the Disfavored? I don't really know much about them, Fatebinder. I never got a chance to work with them, so I don't think I'll be much help on this topic. Gravinash seems capable enough. Seen them in action. Only a few. You never worked with them? Not directly, no. Used to inspire occasionally. Okay, something else. Groups in the tiers. Tell me about the Stonestalkers tribe. Not even worthy of my attention. Humans are also animals, yep. Same as beast women, only are smaller, weaker, die easily. So beast women guards packmates from predators with rending claws and killing teeth. Keeps packmates safe. She hunches low to the ground and ducks her head. Yet always packmates are snipping and snarling at beast women. Okay, so maybe that was a little harsh. Let's just say that in my brief life, I haven't had much experience with the beastmen, so I haven't had the chance to form much of an opinion on them. Better? Kills in shadow, forgives the little songbird. Still likes chittering Archon. She laves her tongue over her fangs, watching Sirin with intensity of a cat eyeing a bird. Rebel groups. Avenging Guard. Pertinent. Are they even still pertinent? Okay. Hasn't changed my opinion. I don't think anybody could do that in Ancient Fortress. Okay. Tell me about the Unbroken. Haven't had much exposure. Bronze Brotherhood. Probably not the most helpful people, but they seem to want the best for Lithian's Crossing. Plus, it's a lot easier for me to recruit my own followers with them around. Okay, something else. Mage Guilds. Okay, and they're so demanding. You ask them, very nicely, I might add, how to cast a spell, and they insist they're not a charity. Okay. I didn't even use my magic on him. That's gratitude for you. She trails off and gives you an intent look. Suddenly, your head feels like it's too small for your brain. She closes her eyes and takes a breath, and the feeling dissipates. Who do you want to talk about? The sages? Can't say I'm too happy with them, since it was their magic that bound my voice when I was a child. But they are an influential group with infinite knowledge. At least they were. Can you imagine how powerful you could become if you had access to their collections? Earth Shakers? Okay, one thing, branch out. Magic is missing is incredible, forge bound. The less I have to think about them, the better. Okay, something else. Something else. Okay, let's talk about something else. What do you think of our travel companions?
Are you trading in gossip now, Fatebinder? Or are you collecting information to use against us?
She arches her eyebrows inquisitively.
What do you want to know about?
Beric?
The walking ring pile? Let's hope you never have to go anywhere unnoticed. There's nothing particularly wrong with him, I suppose, but he doesn't seem overly bright. I mean, what kind of idiot do you have to be if you can't even take off your armor? Maybe he's pretty, but wrapped in that getup, who can tell?
She looks at Beric, smiles, waves, and blows him a kiss.
What was that you said? I couldn't quite hear you.
Beric grunts, turning to face Sirin.
It's okay, Barrick. I didn't say anything about anyone important.
She speaks slowly and deliberately, patting him gently on the shoulder. She then puts her hand to her mouth, suppressing a small giggle.
I'll admit he can handle himself in a fight, but he could use a little more up here.
She taps the side of her head. Oh, Sirin's pretty funny. Full of snark. Tell me about Ep.
She's got some power in there, that's for sure. And as long as I'm crippled, I will, begrudgingly mind you, admit she could probably win if we were pitted against each other. Although I'm more than happy to give her a try. Are you game, Eb? Think you could take me out?
I'm sorry, sweetie, I'm confused. Are you offering me a duel, or something a little more down and dirty?
Eb winks at Sirin, who turns a deep scarlet and looks away.
You know what I meant.
Sirin puts a hand on her headdress and looks at Eb, chewing on the corners of her mouth.
Oh, don't worry, dear. You're far too young for me. I like someone with a little wear and tear on them, and not just up here.
She puts her hand on her head and winks again. This is an interesting banter.
Though I suppose I should watch myself around her. You never know how people will react to a challenge.
Kills in shadow?
I'm not entirely sure what to say. I don't think much of her because I try not to think of her much. Have you seen the way she stares at me? Is that a smile? Or is she hoping I let down my guard so she can tear out my throat? Beastmen are too hard to read. Their thoughts are all blood and rending and rutting.
I'm not always thinking of killing with rending claws. Sometimes I'm thinking how human packmates are like brood cubs, like hairless first-season whelps. Need cleaning and protecting. Need beast woman.
Oh, that's a little adorable. That's good. She's a very strange mom to the group.
And then it goes from death and blood to love and care, or whatever constitutes love and care to a beast woman, which could very well involve blood and rending and rutting. It's all very confusing.
Sirin's one of my favorite characters.
I don't hate her, but she has the uncanny ability to make me uncomfortable without knowing exactly why I feel that way.
Okay, what about Lantry?
I'm jealous of him. I've heard so much about the Vellum Citadel, and he actually got to see it before all the unpleasantness.
That's an understatement. She trails off, a sour expression on her face, her wiggling fingers miming tiny explosions.
The sheer amount of power lost that day is only dwarfed by the amount of power required to cause the destruction, and the power to stop it. The sages have my respect. And, by extension, Lantry. Although, I'm not overly happy it was sage magic they used to bind my tongue when I was a child. I can hardly hold him responsible for that.
How kind of you, my lady. It's heartening to hear that someone of your immense station considers a lowly sage like me to be worthy of your attention.
Lantry performs a deep bow to Sirin.
Although not all sages are necessarily worthy of praise. Some are a little overly fond of excesses, of one kind or another.
She arches an eyebrow. What about Verse?
That bitch? I'd walk her off the spire if I knew I could get away with it. I don't know why you even waste your time with her. Oh, don't give me that look, Verse. I'm not gonna pretend to like someone I don't. At least you know where I stand. Subterfuge is so low class.
Oh, burn!
Trust me, you manipulative worm. The feeling is mutual. And I find it ironic that you find subterfuge low class, considering how you get inside people's minds and fuck them over. If I could get away with it, I'd put a blade inside that pretty little head of yours and twist until your mind was as scrambled as those you invade.
How vivid.
Sirin turns to you and makes a little see what I mean gesture at Verse.
She's rude, violent, base, impatient, and entirely pointless. You should keep much better company, Fatebinder. You asked me what I thought. I can't help it if the facts are painful to swallow.
She sighs and shrugs. Okay, something
What do you
else. What do you think about the state of the world? Was there much to say? Kairos, two major leaders, can't stop themselves from a bunch of children. Neither of them is capable of dealing with the rebels and taking them down, which, okay, cool. Tell me what you know about the edicts. Wild guess, that's why I'm with you. Okay. It intrigues me. I want to learn more, learn what it is to harness it. Sadly, I don't have the magic needed. You're an Archon, you must know something. Okay.
What do you need?
Goodbye. Well, I think we're actually going to call that an end of the episode. What we're going to do in the next one, actually between episodes, I'm going to check with some of our companions, see if there are any other things that I've missed because we've increased our loyalty with some of them. But there we go. If you've enjoyed, go ahead and hit the like button or give me some feedback if you prefer. Of course, if you enjoyed my other work, then a subscription to the channel would also be most amazing. Things might change between now and the next episode, just to add that in there. So if you see anything, I will try my best to summarize it. But there we go. As always, it's great to see you all here at the Fox Den. I hope you come back next time and pull up a chair for some more Tyranny. Alrighty, y'all take care now. Bye.